Hi, how you doing? Justin here. This is one of those lessons that might completely transform your playing. And I'm not trying to do it like a clickbaity thing. This is a really big deal. I teach this all the time. And I was just doing a Skype lesson for a guy who won one of the competitions over on my forum yesterday. Len, how you doing, Len? And we were talking about the way you structure a song and how you perform a song and ways of making it more interesting for the listener. He's like, dude, why haven't you got a lesson on this on your site? I'm like, man, I should. And that's this lesson. Now, what we're going to start talking about is dynamics, particularly loud and soft to start off with. If you play the same strumming pattern for a whole song, it gets really boring for the listener. I'm sure some of you have experienced it if you're out and about at a cafe or bar or something and somebody plays a tune and the rhythm just gets a little bit monotonous. No matter how good the vocals are or whatever, if the rhythm is the same volume, same texture, same pattern or whatever, it just gets a bit like, stop it, will you? Enough already. You don't want to be that person. So you need to understand where you should be quiet and where you should be loud in a song. Now, in order to understand that properly, it can be really helpful to understand a bit about the most basic form of song structure. And it changes all the time. So this isn't something that's kind of set in stone because song structures can be all over the place. There aren't really any rules. This is just like the most common song form. And if you understand that and you understand the principles of what I'm talking about, you'll be able to apply this idea to any song form that you encounter. So on the most basic level, a song structure would be something along the lines of verse, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. That is like the standard song form. So you have the first verse where you introduce the song, the characters in the song, basically what it's about. Verse 2 develops those characters or the story a little bit more. Then you have the chorus, which is the big sing-alongy bit. Then you have another verse where you further develop the characters, another chorus. Then you have a bridge, which is usually completely different musically. Obviously the same theme of the song. It's usually the highest point in the song. And then you have a double chorus again. Now, it's important to realize that the chorus is kind of the hook, usually. It's the bit that people are going to remember. It's the bit people are going to sing along with. So that really wants to be kind of emphasized, and it's usually considerably bigger than the other sections. So you'd have a verse. I'm just going to kind of make up some, random strummy stuff, but you might have a verse, 1. So that here you're introducing the song. Here comes verse 2. So it's just a little bit bigger. You're kind of developing the idea. Into the chorus. Nice and big. Everyone wants to sing along. Then we're back to the verse. Now, just in that little example, I'm hoping you're kind of getting this idea that there's not normally a strumming pattern for a song. People often say, oh, what's the strumming pattern for that song? That's not the right question. It's what's the strumming pattern for that section? Because very often you get the verses. The first verse is probably the middle part, the middle level. The second verse is a little bit above that. So it's usually, it kind of introduces another element. If you're playing on your own, you need to change the pattern up, but sometimes the guitar part would stay the same, but something else in the band might change. You might get an introduction of a second guitar part or a harmony on the vocals or some other musical element just to kind of keep the interest and start developing things. At the end of that second verse, it really wants to lift and you want to do a little build into the chorus. So where it's going from here, going into the chorus, it's kind of lifting it up. And that's the cue for people if they want to have a sing-along. You'll hear it all the time. And as I'm talking about these things, what I want you to do is to take this idea and go and listen to your favorite music and see how it applies, because it almost certainly will. Okay, there's always going to be exceptions to the rules where the song is pretty much the same all of the way through and it's still a massive hit or whatever. That's you have to deal with that. There's always going to be exceptions. It's music, it's art. Sometimes the exceptions are the most beautiful things. But particularly if you're performing on your own, you want to give that cue away. You want to say, hey, man, the chorus is coming up. If you're going to have a sing-along, if you're doing, I don't know, American Pie or something like that, verses are all very quiet. It's coming up into the chorus. You want to be telegraphing, hey, man, it's the chorus. Everyone's going to sing along now. You know, that can be a really, really important thing. After that chorus, going into the third verse, it really wants to drop down, like the lowest point probably. So if you got verse 1, verse 2, chorus, verse 3. And that's going to give you another really super lift into the second chorus. Okay, so dropping the dynamic of that third verse kind of opens the way that, again, that build up into that second chorus is going to feel even bigger than the first time the chorus happened. Okay, they've already had the chorus before. You're trying to get them really to hear the chorus as many times as possible. That's the key thing. That's the hook. That's the thing that they're going to remember, that they're going to be singing while they're doing the washing up, you know. So you've got that chorus. It's really nice and big again. And then comes the bridge. Now, the point of the bridge, if you like, in songwriting terms, is to kind of palate cleanse a bit so you can bash them with another couple of choruses. So the bridge is always very different. Well, not always, usually very different. So the chords are usually very different. The phrasing, it's often where you get the highest note in the song, like the kind of the climax of the whole thing, where the story is revealed or whatever. But it wants to be different again. So usually if you change all of the chords up, then the dynamics could still stay big. Sometimes they get bigger in a bridge or a solo or whatever. Sometimes they drop right down. So it's usually the bridges are a bit extreme. They either go really, really quiet or really, really big, or the chords and the musical elements being used are completely different, which kind of cleans your ear a bit. And then you're ready for a double chorus. So you can hear that chorus 2 more times. So overall in the song, you will have heard the chorus 4 times. That's the kind of hooky bit. Again, going out of the bridge into those last choruses, you want to telegraph it for the listeners in case they want to sing along. I think that is a really important element of this. But the key thing here is that the changes and how exciting it makes it for the listener. Because if it's just the same all of the way through, it really is dull. If you've got a recording device, a way of recording yourself, or even your phone with a video, pick a song that you perform regularly, particularly if you know that you're one of those people that's guilty of doing the same strumming pattern right the way through a whole tune. Play through the song with the same strumming pattern and record yourself. Then sit and think about this. Think about the structure of the song, the fact that where the verses are, where the choruses are, and then try and take it to the extreme. So play really quiet for the verses and really loud for the choruses. The chances are actually you won't be anywhere near the extremes. You'll probably be about right. But it's worth, when you're learning about this stuff, to try and go to the extremes. So really, really quiet in the verses, really, really big in the choruses. See if you can feel that, and then perform the song again with that in mind, and watch the song back, because I'm very sure you'll notice it'll be like night and day. It'll be so different and so much better. It's that thing, particularly building up for the chorus. If you're at a party and you're just playing a tune and use that same strumming pattern, people do switch off a little bit. If you bring the dynamic down, people will be quieter. It's interesting. If you kind of blend in and you're doing the same stuff over, people will start talking. It gets all a little bit lost. If you bring it really down and get a bit intimate, often people will be quiet to listen to you. And then you can build it up into the chorus. When it gets to the chorus, they're all, oh, it's the chorus. It's all exciting. And they want to start singing along and getting involved. So for live performances or playing at your barbecue or whatever the situation is, really, that stuff's important. It's important for recording. To be aware of this sort of stuff when you're recording a tune as well. You know, if you're in a band setting, the whole band should be aware of dynamics. It's not just down to you. The drums should be changing the way they play and what they play. Again, you'll notice this if you listen. Now that I've talked a bit about this, you want to go and listen to your favorite music and see how it happens, because you will hear the drums being on, like the hi-hat is the classic thing for the verses, and then moving to the ride cymbal. So you get a lot of this excuse my awful beatboxing, but you get a lot of that in the verses, and then ding ding chick ding 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 with the ride cymbal for the choruses. You know, that kind of change really is a massive shift in the dynamics of how you perceive the music. Now, volume is the easiest way to think about it, but it can also be to do with things like phrasing, whether particularly this is perhaps more aimed at songwriters, but in verses it can be quite wordy, so you have a lot of words going on. And then in the choruses, you have a lot less words, a lot more repetition, and maybe slower phrases. So if the verses are all da-bi-di-da, boop-ba-di-da-da, boo-da-da-da-ba-da-ba-bi-doo, and then the choruses will be da-yo-do-do, or whatever. So like longer phrases. Again, it's that kind of making things different between the sections. It really works. It's really common because it really works. It's not like you should think, oh, I don't want to do the same formula stuff as everyone else. It's just a thing to think about, to be aware of. It's something that works with us. I don't exactly understand the psychological reason that this stuff has so much impact, but it really, really does. By far the best way to do this is listening to your favorite music, because my favorite music, your favorite music, and your mate's favorite music should be different. And the way different styles and different people use this kind of dynamic trick is different. And what you're best doing is learning it from the music that you really love. Not just listening to, say, Nirvana, who are the all-time most famous version or example of dynamic stuff. You know, listen to Smells Like Teen Spirit. Really, really mellow, quiet verses. And then it explodes into the choruses, you know. But it's not just them. And if you're not a big Nirvana fan, then probably you don't want to take it to that kind of extreme. So try and listen to the music that you love, that affects and resonates with you the most, and learn about dynamics from them. But please do spend some time on it, because it's the kind of thing that can completely transform your playing in quite a short period of time just by being aware of it. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and it makes a big impact on your guitar performances. I'd love to know what you think. If you find this lesson really helpful, let me know in the comments. Please do subscribe to my channel if you dig what I do. I really appreciate support. And hit the bell button if you want to be notified when I'm doing some live sessions, because plenty more of that coming up as well. Do remember, there are hundreds, if not thousands, more free lessons over on the website. There'll be a link in the description. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.